two-hand strike. So what is two-hand strike? And why is it significant as a fundamental movement speed? So as a fundamental movement speed, it maximizes the health and well-being of people and, in our case, future generations. The importance of teaching FMS is the notion that they are building block movements that, when developed, lead to specialized movement sequences. This, again, is important as it is required for adequate participation in many organized and non-organized physical activities. Again, making FMS essential to children and adults to create oneself into a healthier and more active person. So let's go into two-hand strike a bit more. So as a manipulative skill, it is when we obviously use force and apply it to an object using an implement. Basically, so etc., like using a bat, a hockey stick, a tennis racket, all of the above. This again refers to either one's body or an object, in this case the fundamental movement skills. It's a manual utilization of one's hands, leg positions, and body rotation, all in conjunction, to send a projectile, using another object away with force, using this implement. So, further to this is one's hand and foot-eye coordination is used to achieving this skill, where the more dexterous a person is, more competent, has a higher success rate of striking, the object. And, this is obviously performed in many types of sports such as t-ball, softball, baseball, tennis, just to name a few. Now, to go into why this is fundamental, of course, to a student learning essential movements. So this is fundamental as it greatly encourages the learning and development of one's hand-eye and foot-eye coordination, obviously necessary to perform many other fundamental skills such as catching, kicking, and forearm strikes. These skills are notably described as a foundation to more advanced games and sport-specific skills. Now, to describe what age and curriculum level it should be taught, and obviously why, well, I believe two-hand strike should be introduced during Year 2 and mastered by the end of Year 5. This is coming from sources from our Fundamental Motor Speed Active Resources, of course. So, due to this, the age should first start when they're around 6 to 7 within the lower years of education, and can be fully developed between, in the middle years when around 9 to 10 years of age. To introduce modifications to the equipment required, for this fundamental movement speed, of course, to be taught in different development levels, as, diversity obviously comes from being, 6 to 7 to 9 to 10 years of age. So, a good one that we're going to show is just changing the ball size is just a fantastic modification. So, obviously, ball should be large and soft, and obviously stationary or slow moving at first. Key teaching points, obviously, we've mentioned, really essential is obviously side of the stance, eyes on the ball, hands together, step towards the target, hip then shoulder rotation, straight arms, follow through. Obviously, you've got to rotate the hips. Common errors, obviously, not standing side onto the target, obviously striking the ball improperly. Another common error is obviously individuals not stepping into the target after impacting with swiveling the hips. By failing to clear the front leg, the individual can do harm to the lower back and hips while performing the movement speed, and will also reduce power through the strike. So feedback, obviously, as a coach, the most important thing would be, if I'm teaching these learners in the future, would be to obviously provide the player learner with a positive reinforcement. A nurturing environment, obviously, is what kept on our minds. So, obviously, being a mentor to the children, giving them positive and constructive feedback, obviously, and plenty of encouragement. No favoritisms, obviously, treating everyone, equally, regardless of their situation or anything like that. And obviously, safety to protect, obviously, participants, individuals, your students.